Hello, this is Jerry, and I am a writer now, writing coach, and I hope our connection is going to be working okay. And so this is day 18 of my 30-day writing challenge. And so yesterday I didn't show up. That was day 17, but I gave myself an excuse absence for yesterday. So anyway, I've been very busy nonetheless. So I'm excited because, so today I was writing and working on my book. And I think I have like 1.5 more chapters and I should be complete. So I have 12 more days, so I should be able to do that. I forgot to turn my notifications off, so I'm still getting some right here. And Jeannie, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Carol. Thank you all for coming. And thank you all for helping me to be accountable for writing my book. Today I got the opportunity to spend some time with my son Jimmy, and he said, why are you doing that? Why are you giving yourself 30 days to write your book? And that's because I started this book last year, and my goal was to release it January the 1st, and that I know me. You know, I was writing the book once for 20 years because I kept getting distracted and kept picking it up and putting it down. And I know that God wants this book released, so I am just thankful that Facebook is here to be my accountability people. So yesterday I didn't show up, but I gave myself an excuse absence. So in my 30-day challenge, I have missed 2 days, but I'm not gonna allow myself any other absences unless there's an emergency. And we know that life happens. And thank you, Ella, and thank you, Jim, for joining. And I appreciate you all for being here. And so today what I want to talk about is seasoned writers. And I'm a seasoned writer, so I can talk about seasoned writers. I was 62 when I published my first book. I was 63 when I started helping others to publish their books. So today I'm talking about seasoned writers because this week I was blessed to receive a new client. And my new client is 84 years old. And it gives me great joy when I have the opportunity to help someone in their seasoned years to release their books. I have done this before, and it's very powerful because as writers, one of the most traumatizing things that can happen to us is to leave this world without releasing our books. You know, it's painful. It's painful. That's the only way I know to explain it. And so and thank you, Marina, for being here. I appreciate you. So today I'm taking a pause to call for seasoned writers. It's not too late. People release books at all ages. And the wisdom that you have acquired over the years. And many seasoned people have been writing for years, and they have things just laid aside that they feel like, you know, nobody wants to read or why bother. But if God put it in your spirit to release that, and he didn't give it to you just for you, if that's the case. Now, sometimes we can do writing that God has given to us just for ourselves. But if God sent a word to you and you feel like it was something that you need to release to other people, to be a blessing to other people, then do that. Then release your words. Words are powerful, and we all know that. The title of my book is Say So. And in my book, I'm going to be talking about the power and why it's necessary. Thank you, Sandra, for joining. Why it's necessary for us to decree the promises of God over our lives, and how Satan wants nothing more than to shut our mouths. Satan hates our mouths so much that we're all walking around with our mouths covered up. He hates the power that is in our tongue. He hates it because he knows that the power that's in our tongue can destroy the works that he has initiated in our lives. The power that's in our tongue can destroy the walls that Satan's building, can destroy the destruction that he's doing in our children's lives. One of the chapters I'm working on in my book, Say So, is in regards to my son, Jimmy, and we have shared our testimonies. And, you know, I write about my children with permission, so he knows I'm writing this chapter. And he's planning on writing his own book, and I'm hoping that he'll get started with that really soon because he has such a powerful testimony. So I am going to be sharing in that chapter the power of the tongue and how I made some declarations and how now I'm walking around. Every time I look at my son, I'm just totally amazed. I still have to pinch myself and say, God, am I dreaming? God, I thank you. You're wonderful, God, and thank you for the power that's in my tongue. Because making declarations over his life, making declarations about the promises of God and what God said that he would do for us, I saw this manifestation that I have been crying out to God for years and years and years. So anyway, Marilyn, thank you for joining. And I got my writing music on in the background because this process has been a process of discovery for me because I'm really finding out new revelations about our books. Our books are a living force. Our creativity is a living force. And we know that when we're speaking, those of us that are speakers, we already know that we can study and study and study. But then when we get up to speak, God can take us in a totally different direction. And we may not say anything on our paper. That's the same way it is when you're writing a book. You may have it all in your head. Now, this is exactly what I want to do, and this is what I want to talk about. And then you start writing, and your book will say, no, well, this is what I want to write about. And it would take you in a totally different direction. And we have to learn to trust our books. We have to learn to become friends with our books. So right now, I got my writing music playing because it's just like when you're spending time with anybody. Anyone. You don't want to spend time with someone and they're checking their text messages. They got one eye on the TV. And hi, Carl and Deontay and Ralph and everyone that joined. I appreciate you. But when you're writing your book wants your undivided attention. And when your book learns that it can trust you, that you're there for the purpose of writing your book, it'll begin to write itself. And so many times writers talk about writer's block. There's many reasons for writer's block, but one of it is that we don't give our book our full attention. And I'm guilty of trying to write while I'm looking at TV, trying to write where I'm jumping back and forth on Facebook or emails. But over the past few days, when I have given my book my undivided attention and my full focus, it's really amazing. It really is a spiritual process that you're engaging in. And so one thing I try to instill into writers is that we are, if you're writing for God, that is, we're just his instruments. Just like the ink pen is the instrument in our hand, we're like the ink pen in God's hand. And all we have to do is surrender, listen, and trust that we know the voice of the Lord. And when you surrender, listen, and trust that you know the voice of the Lord, your stories will tell you which ones that you need to write. Your stories will tell you how deeply you need to go. And so I just again want to encourage writers, and tonight especially I'm speaking to seasoned writers. Take your books off the shelf, because I know the agony that you feel when you walk around for years and years and that desire inside of you is to release a book. It's agony. It's agony. And so, Release your book. Find the courage to do that. Yes, you do have to be courageous to release your book. Yes, you do have to defy all the voices in your head telling you that what makes you think you could be a writer. Look at all those books out there. The world doesn't need another book. There's going to be challenging voices all the way. But when God released us into the world, He released us with a plan and a purpose. Just imagine some of the books that have changed your life and impacted it for the good and set you on the right path. Just imagine if someone would have just said, well, I don't feel like writing that, or I'm blocked, or whatever. What about the writers of the Bible? What if they just didn't feel up to it, or when the enemy attacked them, they just submitted to the attacks and decided not to do it? We would be in darkness. Our words give light and life to people. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. And when we do that and we share that, other people overcome too. Now, as a writer over the years, I have attended many writing conferences, and a lot of traditional publishers will tell you that nobody's interested in your story. And so for years, I bought into that, and I said, well, what am I going to write about? No one's interested in my story. But then God spoke, and He said, I am interested in your story. God is interested in your story. God wants you to share your story. Because when you share your story and you're doing it for the purposes of being a blessing to other people, God gets the glory. And God desires to be glorified by His creation. So I am not going to continue. If you have any questions, you can still put them in the comments, and I will be sure to respond to those. And again, my name is Jerry, and I am a writing coach. And on October the 19th, I'm going to be offering a magazine publishing course, online course offered by Zoom. And the link is on my page. And I'll also put it in the comments. And what happens is, like, maybe you don't want to dive into a book right away. Maybe you just want to write a magazine article. And if you do, I would challenge you to do that. I would suggest that you do that, because even devotionals, they're like 200-300 words. And there's a lot of Facebook devotional writers. A lot of people writing things on Facebook that are awesome. They're awesome writers, and they're very encouraging to people. And thank you, Elaine. And Elaine is going to have a book coming out soon, very soon. It's a very powerful book. Esther Clark is going to have a very powerful book coming out soon. But a lot of Facebook writers are actually devotional writers. And you could be publishing your thoughts for the day into a devotional magazine, and it can go all over the world. And not only bless your family and friends on Facebook, but bless people all over the world. And Lisa, where have you been? I have. Lisa, did you hear from Chicken Soup? Because we sent an article in for Lisa. And for October the 19th, people that enroll in my class, we're doing a chicken soup challenge, because they're accepting submissions. And if you want to get an article ready to submit to Chicken Soup, they're going to pay $200 for that article. I will edit it for you for a small fee of $20. I'll look it over and edit it for you. And so, yes, you can get started as a writer today. In fact, my journey as a writer started when God spoke to me and said, start telling people I am a writer. Start telling people I am a writer. And when you do that, you're activating the writer in you. And okay, I'm getting ready to close, but I see Deborah Templeton is here. And on Monday at 2 o'clock, I am going to be doing our author's chat with Deborah Templeton. And she's going to be sharing her book. She's also an author, and she has produced a very powerful book that even parents of young children would benefit from reading this book. She's going to share some warning signs that you should be aware of that will maybe let you know if your child is being molested. So this is going to be Arthur's Chat Monday at 2 o'clock, and join us here on Facebook. So I am going to close here. I'm going to put the link for the magazine publishing course in the comment section. It's live on Zoom, but if you're not able to attend on that date, you will get the video. Everyone will get the video. So thank you all. I'm going to write a little more before I call it tonight. And Lisa, I need you to call me, but don't keep me on the phone all night because I have to write. Okay, so thank you all for joining and have a great night.